Today on Fresno State Focus, we give you the latest on the California wildfires that are now the deadliest in state history.
And we hear from a political correspondent, Robert Costa, about what's inside the President Trump's White House.
Plus, we take a look at Fresno State alumni inspiring the community at the Top Dog Awards. Fresno State Focus starts now. Hello and welcome to Fresno State Focus. I'm Brenda Billingsley.
And I'm Brittany Sosa.
California is a tinderbox, but fire officials report that they are making progress. We are now a week and a half into the Northern California fires, but two new fires started this week, one in the Santa Cruz Mountains and the other in the San Gabriel Mountains east of Los Angeles. But sadly, the wine country fires continue to devastate. Just today, we learned 42 people have lost their lives since the fire started October 8th. After more than a week of dry, warm weather and winds, over 120,000 acres of land have burned with 6,000 homes destroyed. CAL FIRE says today is the day to push for containment. As of now, 63% of the fire is contained, but to make matters worse, the dry, rugged Santa Cruz Mountains are burning. 600 firefighters and 9 helicopters are in the Santa Cruz Mountains working that fire that's only been contained 5%. 150 homes are evacuated, 4 buildings burned. 5 firefighters got hurt but will be okay. Who is ever really ready to be evacuated in minutes? What would you take? What are the most important things to grab? And when you run out that door, do you have the documents to prove who you are? Lori Long knows about loss and has written a book to help people prepare for the worst. Thank you for joining us, Lori.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
So what motivated you to write a book to help others prepare for disaster?
Well, the short version is that I lost 12 family members in 5 years, and I wasn't ready for that. There's no class that you can take to prepare you for end-of-life issues or losing family. And so what I did is I wrote a little workbook called The Next 48 Hours. But then I realized that after Hurricane Katrina, people were going through the same thing as when we lose a family member in trying to locate documents. And so that's when I wrote My Life in a Box. And the first book's included in it.
Oh, well, it's very interesting. This is the first time I've ever heard of something like this. And it's really neat the way that you help people get an idea of the type of things that they should be looking forward in terms of being proactive and preparing. What was it that you believe you needed to have in your preparation, your to-go bag, that it needs to be an essential part?
Okay, well, it's actually a 4-part plan. And so I'm going to ask you 4 questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. You heard about the Santa Rosa fire and how they woke people up at 1:30 in the morning and they gave them less than 5 minutes to leave?
Yes.
So my first question is, can you leave your home in 5 minutes with everything you need to relocate? That's okay. Most people can't.
Yeah.
Then if you were in a car accident, is there someone in your life that knows where your personal, legal, and financial documents are in one place? And then third, it's kind of tough, is does anybody know your end-of-life wishes?
Yeah, I see where you're going.
And then there's number 4, okay. If the power goes off in our community, can you shelter in place with all the food, water, and tools that you need for up to a week? And see, that's the foundation of my program.
Yeah.
And I did that because I saw people leaving disasters and also losing family members and not having a clue where their documents were. And so that's what I do in my program.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an amazing thing if you really put it into perspective, because you're right. Most times people pass and we don't know what they really wanted, you know? And so it is good to prepare, and especially with all these fires going on, it's so important.
And I don't focus on end-of-life issues. That's just one component of the whole thing. So I try to teach people how to build what I call an emergency toolbox.
And so what would go in that emergency toolbox?
Everything in my book.
That's
But you know,
good
like
to
if you have regular tools at home, you know how to use a screwdriver and a hammer, but you don't use them every day. So I teach people in Chapter 2 how to look for all their documents, then to build a bag, which I call a getaway bag, but it contains clothing and, oh, come on, brain. Clothing and sundries, you know, your makeup and things like that.
Yeah.
And if you take medicine, you need a 7-day supply of medicine in there. But everybody in the family has their own bag. And everybody in the family is responsible for their own bag,
Yeah.
so that mom's not running out of the house with all these bags.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and that way when, you know, it hits, let's go, you're like, oh, everybody has their bag, we're ready.
Yep.
And
I even encourage people to have like a fire drill at least every 3 months. Okay, we're going to practice, and nobody knows when it's going to be.
yeah. Like Lori Long's father said, it's better to be proactive than reactive. Thank you for sharing with us, Lori, your knowledge and for writing that book. We've been speaking with Lori Long, emergency preparedness expert.
Ever wonder what goes on in President Trump's White House? The Washington Post political reporter Robert Costa has been frequently asked the insider and has more than 101 conversations with the president. Costa talked with local media at Fresno State before giving his keynote speech at the Save Mart Center last night. The title of the presentation, Inside Trump's Washington, the rise and fall of the outsider president.
The president was trying to navigate his own base, his party that doesn't really like him, the Democrats who are of course wary of him, and to just try to get something done. He still has more than 3 years left, 3.5 years. And the challenge for President Trump is, what now? You've gone through these tumultuous first 8-9 months, what now? And I think it's going to be a really fun conversation because it's important to understand how we got here.
Costa covered many topics, including an insider look into the White House from someone who worked closely with the president. In the end, Costa took notes from questions from the audience, and there were many.
Once a year, the Fresno State Alumni Association proudly recognizes the accomplishments of many alumni and its signature event, the Top Dog Awards Gala. The black tie event this past Friday the 13th celebrated the success of 14 alumni who were recognized for their inspirational stories. One of those recognized is Kim Ruiz, the 2017 Distinguished Fresno State Alumni recipient.
Kim, amazing individual. She has served in various roles at Reese Foods. It's a family business. Done amazing things back to the university. She's involved with the Craig School of Business, involved on the, with various different community organizations. Amazing individual with her volunteer work and paying it forward and her commitment to the community.
Scholarship recipients were also honored on stage that night. They received $146,000 for this school year from the Alumni Association. Fresno State has been a destination for political pundits this week, with Bob Costa on Monday and now First Amendment Center President Ken Paulson here today and tomorrow. Mr. Paulson joins us in the studio before his lecture tonight in the Table Mountain Rancheria Reading Room. Thanks for stopping by, Mr. Paulson.
Glad to be here.
So we really want to know, with everything in the press going on and the issues with freedom of speech, what would you recommend we as journalists do to combat the fake news?
Well, you have to be careful to define your terms because fake news has become weaponized. Tonight at 6:30, as you say, in the library, we'll be talking about that and other issues. I want to point out here, I'm wearing a Superman cap. That's not a delusion of grandeur. That is the theme of tonight's presentation, and it's about it's a story of free speech, democracy, and diversity told through comic books. So, life-changing. Come on out. I expect to see all of you there. It's dangerous when we begin to call things fake news because we don't apply that to other things. A fake diamond is cubic zirconia. A fake handbag, that is a knockoff. a fake recording, that's a bootleg. Why are we giving fabricated stories, hoaxes, the dignity of calling them fake news? So first of all, I think we need to retire that from our lexicon, because it's become a weapon used by politicians now to attack honest, straightforward, and accurate reporting. The best way for you as young journalists to fight fake news is to uphold the ethics of the profession and do your jobs the best way you know how.
Thank you for sharing that, and I agree with you completely. Your title for tonight's talk is called Saving America in a Single Bound, the power of democracy and diversity.
Right.
What do students or attendees who come to watch you speak, what should they expect to hear from you?
Well, the overall point is that we live in an extraordinary nation with 5 freedoms of the First Amendment. And I'll leave each of you and your audience members to start scratching their heads and see if they know what those 5 freedoms are. But only 2% of Americans know what they are. And the reason America has been so vibrant for more than 2 centuries is because we had the freedom to speak, to exchange our ideas. But now America has stopped listening to each other. And that puts us in a very precarious position. So the jumping off point, literally, for this is the character of Clark Kent, Superman's alter ego, who fought for truth, justice, and the American way in his own way. And it's about time America did that collectively.
I think so too. And you know, it's interesting the way that you're putting such a huge issue that needs to be talked about, frankly, and you're putting it in a different perspective where people can come and listen and put themselves in that shoe, you know, of that superhero and how they would handle it.
Well, the comic book angle is just for fun. We understand that the number of people who would voluntarily come out and hear me speak about First Amendment freedoms is very small. But if you throw in Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, maybe more people will turn out. This is a crass commercial ploy on my part. But in the end, we'll talk about democracy and what makes America special.
Yes, I'm excited, honestly. I hope many people come out and, you know, listen, because it's an issue that really needs that type of attention. And thank you so much for being here with us, Mr. Paulson.
My pleasure.
We've been talking with Ken Paulson, president of the First Amendment Center and former editor of USA Today. You can watch him tonight at 6:30 in the Table Mountain Rancheria Reading Room in the Henry Madden Library. Then tomorrow morning at 9:15, he'll be on a diversity panel in the Reading Room. And at 1 in the afternoon, he will be next to President Castro, and they will lead a discussion in the Satellite Student Union. Coming up on Fresno State Focus, we get the latest on NFL players protesting the national anthem.
And we take a look at how the student cupboard is helping solve food insecurities at Fresno State.
Plus, we learn tips for how to eat healthy while on a budget. All that when we come back.
Success. At Fresno State, it's no secret. It's discovering new ways to change our world. It's creating opportunities as diverse as our community itself. It's in the distinction of our graduates as they lead us into the future. Success is no secret at Fresno State. It's our mission. Success. At Fresno State, it's no secret. It's discovering new ways to change our world. It's creating opportunities as diverse as our community itself. It's in the distinction of our graduates as they lead us into the future. Success is no secret at Fresno State. It's our mission.
Being a college student is not only a stress on its own, with the tests and deadlines, but what if you also had to worry about where your next meal's coming from? There are so many resources for students in need that they still may not know about. One of those resources is the student cupboard, where students can get food for free.
Fresno State has a program for students who struggle with buying food and other items for themselves. The Cupboard is a donor-funded program located on Fresno State's campus in the Industrial Tech Building. It is available to all current students, full-time or part-time.
We've been very, very lucky to have such great support from not only our campus but our community, from our administrators. The Castros are extremely supportive and just really helpful for our program. And we have been able to serve just over 8,400 unique students since we have opened our doors in November 2014.
The cupboard was created in November of 2014 and has been a huge success for students and staff who helped create this program.
I can tell you every single day I have someone who walks a student in for the very first time. And it's another student who typically does that because they want to be able to share this resource with them just like someone shared it with them.
Now, on your first visit to the cupboard, you want to make sure that you bring your Fresno State ID card, a bag, or a backpack that you can fill up. No student gets turned down. They also have programs that can help you with further needs, like applying for SNAP, another resource that helps buy food if you really need it.
Myself, I was kind of struggling a little bit. My family were kind of struggling a little bit now that we took my grandparents and they declared bankruptcy. So we have more mouths to feed, and it was just kind of tight on us. So I said, well, why not,
Sergio is one of many students who struggle and is definitely not ashamed of it. He knows being in college will only brighten his future. The cupboard is not just a place for students to get free food. It is a place where those who need it the most can utilize what's out there for them, because most of the time, we don't know what's out there. Sometimes we all need a little help. Brittany Sosa, Fresno State Focus.
There is no shame in needing a little help, especially when it's how you feed yourself. Being a struggling college student, we often find ourselves skipping meals or not eating at all. Here to speak with us about the importance of not skipping any meals is Ebony Sanders, an intern working for her RD certification for Fresno State Health Center. Thank you, Ebony, for being here. We're going to get right into this. So tell me the importance of eating in general.
So we know that food fuels our body. It fuels our brain. We cannot function without it. If you skip meals, for example, you're gonna experience dizziness. You're gonna feel tired. Your blood sugar is gonna lower. You can't focus as well. So food is such an important factor, and we need it for our daily lives.
Okay. So what are some things that students can do for them to help them, to help them remember to eat? Because I know that's most of the time we just forget.
Exactly. So one big thing, this is a big thing that's out, is meal prepping. Choosing one day out of the week, devote about 4 hours of your time, including the grocery store trip, and preparing those meals in advance and making those healthy snacks more available, putting them in Ziploc bags, using those plastic containers from the dollar store. Those are examples of ways that you can include healthy meals if you're on a go.
Now, what are some healthy snacks that kids can take with them?
So the best way to do it is to stay as whole as you can. So, an apple, a fresh apple, carrots, peanut butter. We've got whole grain bread. There's a lot of different snacks available. But if you try to choose more whole foods, it's best. They're more nutrient dense.
Okay. So what is the best kind of breakfast somebody can eat to get them started in their day?
The best kind of breakfast would be probably oats. You've got your fiber, you've got your carbohydrates to get you started for the day. Maybe include some blueberries frozen, and then maybe some milk, or if you don't like dairy, some almond milk. That's a really good breakfast to get you going for the day.
That's perfect. Thank you so much for being here. Alrighty, we have been speaking with Ebony Sanders, a registered dietitian intern at the Fresno State Health Center. Coming up in former sports news, Bulldog Aaron Judge is helping the Yankees push forward towards a World Series title.
And we talk with a Fresno State soccer player who has been on fire in the last few games.
Plus, we take a look at the United Nations of Tennis and the tennis team and how they brought together by their love of the game. Stay tuned for Sports with Corey Stevens.
I got the Bulldog spirit up in my head.
Up in my head. Up in my head.
I got that Bulldog spirit up in my head. Up in my head to say. I got that Bulldog spirit deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Got that Bulldog spirit deep in my heart. Deep in my heart to stay.
I got that Bulldog spirit
down in my toes. Down in my toes. Down in my toes, I got that Bulldog spirit.
Down in my toes, hey!
Down in my toes to stay. I got that Bulldog spirit. Up in my head, deep in my heart. Down in my toes, I got that Bulldog spirit. All over me to Deep in my heart.
Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. I've got that bulldog spirit.
Welcome back. I'm Corey Stevens with a look at what's going on in the world of sports. To stand or kneel, that is the controversial topic of the season, and today the NFL commissioner is taking an official stand. Roger Goodell says all players should stand, but he doesn't see players kneeling as disrespectful.
They are not doing this in any way to be disrespectful to the flag, but they also understand how it's being interpreted, and that's why we're trying to deal with those underlying issues.
The NFL and the Players Association came to an agreement today. It all started with Colin Kaepernick kneeling as a protest to police shootings. Then others followed suit as a sign of other protests. While NFL Commissioner and the President believe players should stand, the rules do not require them to stand, and there will be no changes as of now going forward. So you will likely still see players kneeling at tomorrow night's game between the Chiefs and the Raiders. Court is in session for former Diamond Dog and current New York Yankees slugger Aaron Judge. He once again put down the gavel on the NLCS. Judge's towering home run in the seventh got the ball rolling for the Yankees, and that's exactly what the Pinstripes needed for some momentum. After scoring one more run in the seventh inning, Judge came back around in the eighth inning, hitting a rocket to left field that just missed the top of the wall by inches. Judge and the Yankees are playing right now, hoping to sweep the Astros at home, needing only one win to head to the World Series. The last time the Yankees started 5-0 at home in the postseason, they went on to win the World Series. Speaking of teams that are killing it, the Los Angeles Dodgers are 6-0 in the playoffs and have a chance to head into the World Series undefeated. If they win tonight, the Dodgers will be in the World Series for the first time since 1998. How about them Dogs? The football team steamrolled the Lobos of New Mexico this past weekend, taking them to 3-0 in the conference and putting them on top of the West Division. After a dominating win this past homecoming weekend, the Dogs looked to get ready for San Diego State. The Aztecs were upset by Boise State, knocking them out of the top 25. The Dogs are looking to stop the Aztecs from being tied atop the West Division. If the Dogs win, they will have a 2-game lead over second place. The winner also takes home the old oil can trophy. The trophy has been in San Diego the past 2 years. The Dogs look to bring home their second rivalry trophy with a win this weekend. Fresno State women's soccer is on a roll with a solid 2-win weekend. United States soccer coaches named sophomore midfielder Julia Glazer the Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week and the NCAA Division I Women's National Player of the Week. Here to talk with us about how her season is going is the one and only Julia Glazer. Thank you for being with us today.
I'm glad to be here.
So you've scored 6 goals in the past 2 games, with 4 against UNLV and 2 against Nevada. How do you expect to keep the momentum going for the rest of the regular season?
I mean, I hope we keep it up, and we have to, because we have to win the next 3 games to make it to the tournament. So, yeah, we have to keep it up, and I think we can do it.
What was it like when you were told that you were named not only Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week, but also in all of the collegiate women's soccer? What was it like for you?
I mean, I was honored and very proud that I could have my team, but I also know that I wouldn't be able to do that without a good team in the back. So,
heading forward, you said you have 3 regular season games left. And you have to win them all to get into the playoffs. What are you guys working on right now? Just focusing on mainly to make sure you get those wins.
I mean, we try to combine. We try to create good chances. We want to be able to score. We have to have poise in the finishing. So, we keep working on a lot of things, and yeah.
Okay, and so with winning those 3 games, what do you really hope to see in the postseason? Your guys' team working on the most and improving on with everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, we just try to keep the energy level high as we did in the last 3 games, and try to create the chances and score, and yeah, we do our best to win the 3 games.
With those 3 games, so when is the next upcoming game?
The next game is on Friday.
And is that at Fresno State?
It's at Fresno State against Air Force.
So hopefully you guys can win those last 3 games and head into the postseason strong. Thank you for joining us. We've been speaking with Fresno State sophomore midfielder Julia Glazer. Thanks for joining us. Back to Brenda and Brittany at the desk.
Everyone has their favorite place to get in the Halloween spirit. It's a family tradition to go and get the pumpkin and other fall fixings. During the day, families visit Simonian Farms in Clovis to pick that perfect pumpkin. They range from as small as an apple to as big as a pig. But that's not all. There's also a haunted caboose, a hay maze, and as well as other fruits and veggies harvested from the farm.
You know, the crops of most all the crops are done, you might say. And that's the end of the season, and it's a fun thing because it's all about family.
Simonian prides his farm as being a family-oriented attraction. Right now, that even includes picture time with the little ones and a classic panning for gold.
People are getting into the swing of fall and Halloween. Elizabeth Carrillo takes us inside a small town's big orange and sometimes scary attractions.
In Sanger, during the day, Hobbs Grove is Billy Bob's Pumpkin Grove.
Come out to the pumpkin patch. Make sure I got plenty of pumpkins for the youngins because each day we get hundreds and hundreds of kids coming out here.
Kids can play on the tires or in the cornfield hay pits.
I explain to them on how I grow pumpkins and the life cycle of pumpkins, and that gets them all excited. And then I tell them they can go pick out their own pumpkin, and
the sun goes down and the place starts to change.
Not scared yet? Here's what else to expect at Hobbs Grove.
Creepy characters join the nightfall, and more people are welcome to buy tickets at the front booth, at their own risk. There is a chance to get chased out of the mazes by a chainsaw. But Tracy Longchamp has been going to Hobbs Grove for 3 years and looks forward to being scared.
I never thought that this place could have anything this fun during Halloween because we're military, so all we hear is like this is kind of dead, but this is like an amazing start to Halloween.
The Midway area welcomes everyone with lights and different food trucks, including kettle corn and a taco truck. It also has live music throughout the night that people can get up and dance to. Maverick Cadaverick explains what Hobbs Grove is like since it opened.
Traditionally, Hobbs Grove has been known for our haunted forest. It's our legendary haunted forest, our star attraction here at Hobbs Grove. And our haunted hayride and haunted house definitely have made a name for themselves, but our new attraction and our fourth attraction is the Portal, which is an interactive laser shooting experience with laser guns and aliens, and you go on a mission.
Into this place.
I have not been to Hobbs Grove. I've always wanted to go. I love spooky stuff like that, so I just really want to try it out.
I've been before. I haven't been this year. I heard they got a few new attractions, so I really want to get out there and see what it's all about.
I'm good. You guys can go together.
I don't have something for everybody.
I don't do scary stuff. I'm okay. I am okay.
Next week on Fresno State Focus, how overcrowding threatens some of California's most beautiful parks.
Plus, what the Career Center is doing to help students succeed through the clothing closet.
Also, we look at what's to come with the Fresno State basketball team before the regular season.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.